A new poll shows California voters could play an important role in choosing the candidates for President Obama's replacement.
Fire tore through an old church building not far from campus. We'll hear from people who called this home.
And on the last day of her presidency, Rini Sampath joins us live in the studio to share thoughts on her time in office and her vision for the future.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
The presidential candidates may be courting the Midwest today, but a new study says California may be more important than ever. Good evening, I'm Daniel Schramm.
And I'm Priscilla Casper. According to a poll of registered voters, California is anything but decided. USC, Dorn, Sife, and LA Times released the largest survey of California registered voters this weekend. Annenberg Media's Kelly Rinke talked with voters who will be casting ballots in the most important primary in years.
All California voters might end up having a say in who runs for president this fall.
This conclusion comes after USC, Dorn, Sife, and the LA Times randomly polled 1,500 registered California voters earlier this month. The responses among Democratic voters show Hillary Clinton leading Bernie Sanders by 11 points.
I highly value Hillary's foreign policy expertise, and I just don't see Bernie having the same.
Among Republicans most likely to vote, Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are nearly tied. But among all GOP voters, Trump's support is 7% higher.
I just feel like his business strategies are going to be better for this country and will help America gain some stamina.
And if Trump wins the nomination, 42% of California GOP voters would support him. But more than a quarter of Republicans refuse to vote for him.
What he's saying to me is really downright scary. I think he preys on fear and insecurity.
On the Democratic side, most Sanders supporters will back Clinton if she is the nominee, but 45% say they are reluctant.
She changes her positions to whatever is politically expedient at the time.
45% of voters in California still have an unfavorable image of Hillary Clinton. She's particularly unpopular with the Latino voters. A few years ago, 67% of Latinos supported her. Now it's as low as 50%.
She's not winning them by nearly the margin she has in other states. And that's primarily because Sanders is attracting younger African American and younger Latino and Latina voters.
Schnurr says it's especially important for people to vote in California since the race is tight for both parties.
Even if you're not changing the world all by yourself, you're part of a broader, a larger number of people who do have the opportunity to make significant change.
The last day to register to vote is May 23rd. The primary will be held on June 7th. From Annenberg Media, I'm Kelly Rinke.
The Wisconsin primary for both Republicans and Democrats will be held next Tuesday. The presidential candidates are making their way across the state. Hillary Clinton is in Madison speaking at the University of Wisconsin. Bernie Sanders will be in Milwaukee for a rally tomorrow. Now on the Republican side, Ted Cruz was in Rothschild while John Kasich spoke at a town hall in Madison. Donald Trump is heading to Janesville tomorrow. His opponents are not giving him a warm welcome.
There have been other candidates who have demonstrated a willingness to go to the gutter, to make personal attacks, to make sleazy attacks. I think the American people are sick of that.
Do you think I have time to watch Donald Trump's interviews?
Trump was busy over the weekend celebrating the birth of his daughter's third baby. Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner, welcomed Theodore James yesterday at 5:43 p.m. Hillary Clinton lost 3 states over the weekend. She criticized Senate Republicans for denying a hearing for President Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland.
I'm adding my voice to the chorus, asking Senator Grassley to step up and do his job. He should. He should hold a hearing, and he should schedule it as soon as the Senate returns from recess.
While Clinton tries to gain more Wisconsin supporters, Bernie Sanders still trails behind her by 700 delegates.
Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton by a wide margin this weekend in Alaska, Hawaii, and Washington. CNN and other political analysts reported Sanders won these states because they are predominantly white. Some angry supporters responded by tweeting the hashtag Bernie made me white. At Lucas Bros said, "Dear CNN, white power? Hashtag Bernie made me white." At Latinos for Bernie said, when at hashtag Bernie made me white, my neighbor could vouch for me at the voting booth. No ID required. And WNC for Bernie said, I guess hashtag Bernie made me white.
As always, Bernie supporters, the media has never been on our side.
I feel like that's a strategy to disempower his campaign, honestly, because we have reached a historical point in this country where the minority vote can actually sway an election in a big way.
According to exit polls, Sanders has done well in states with a low African American turnout. A USC Annenberg professor believes the media plays a role, but the Clinton campaign has been more successful going after the minority vote.
Media narrative is important, but I also think it's the way that the campaign has framed its own argument. The campaign's made a primary argument about economic class, but I don't know that the campaign's really made an effective argument to voters of color, and that's been demonstrated. I mean, Secretary Clinton won a higher percentage of African American voters in South Carolina than Senator Obama did when he was running.
Some Sanders reporters agree he should spend more time on issues that matter to minority voters. Our political reporters Max Schwartz and Allie Main were on the ground in Washington this weekend covering the caucuses and a Bernie Sanders rally.
This is what grassroots activism is all about, people of all ages coming to support Bernie Sanders.
Right, we spoke to a 14-year-old girl at the Bernie Sanders rally, and although she couldn't go caucus the next day, she talked to us about why people her age should be involved in politics.
It's really important for people to know about the issues in our country, and I think that Bernie is really trying to fix them, and he's fighting for all of us so that we can all live in a way that we are successful and that we're happy. And I think that if we all spread the message, then more people will know about it, and the more people that inform, the more people become a part of the political revolution.
While young people were motivated by Bernie's call for a political revolution, older people also were too.
Yes, and we spoke to one Vietnam War veteran who compared Bernie Sanders to John F. Kennedy.
He's the last hope for America right now. He's this generation's JFK to me.
This grassroots support carried over to caucus day on Saturday.
Yes, and at the caucus venue we observed Eckstein Middle School in Seattle. Most of the people were first-time caucus goers.
You can follow all of our political coverage on uscannenbergmedia.com.
Well, here on campus, the new undergraduate student government will be inaugurated tomorrow. In February of last year, USC elected Renee Sampath, the first female USC president since 2006 and part of the first all-female ticket in Pac-12 history. In September, Renee posted on Facebook about being the subject of a racist slur. Her story went viral and helped start a conversation about diversity on USC's campus. 2 months later, the USG Senate passed a campus climate resolution on equality and inclusion.
I said it really meant a lot. The first all-female ticket, all-woman of color elected in the Pac-12, I think. So, I mean, obviously there's still issues that we have to address, but it does say a lot about having them elected.
For more on USG's legacy, Sonica Bargo is live with a special guest. Sonica?
Thanks, Priscilla. With me today is Renee Sampath herself, our current student body president. Renee, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as we heard, diversity and college affordability have both been big issues during your presidency. So I'm wondering, how can future USG presidents make more progress on these issues?
I think the easy thing to do in this position is really to coast. The easy thing to do is attend the nice dinners and get the perks of the job, but the hard thing is to stand up and speak up for what is right. So I hope future USG presidents see this position as a platform to speak out for students rather than just as another line item on a resume. I think that's extremely important, and I hope that they empower the younger students, because it truly takes a village to tackle these issues. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of work, and I think it starts with bringing as many people on board with these initiatives.
Now, as president, you work closely with the administration as well as students. So can you tell us a little bit about how working with the administration has been and some of the obstacles you faced?
I think this year we were really able to put a crack in that ceiling in terms of administrative response. I think in past years, especially when I was vice president, I saw when we submitted some proposals, sometimes we wouldn't receive a response. And this year we were able to get that response we wanted because we had the collective student community coming together and engaging on these topics. We had student media reporting it, we had students signing petitions, and so it really took our entire community coming forward to get this the administration to respond. And I think that's what it is going to take in the future, and hopefully we can keep going with that.
And going forward, what are some remaining concerns that you still have?
I know we were able to get a lot done in terms of establishing a positional student leader stipend for students from low-income families to have access to leadership positions. We're able to, work on a bookstore discount, all kinds of these awesome projects. But I am still concerned about these bigger topics that we have, like mental health, college affordability, diversity, equity, and inclusion. While it's fun to bring puppies to the quad and put on awesome concerts, it's important to keep these conversations at the forefront as well. And I really hope that future student government organizations can remember that these topics are integral to the student voice, and we can keep pushing forward on those.
Now, your term is starting to wind down a little bit as the semester is approaching its end. So I wanted to ask you, what do you hope your legacy is, and what do you hope you're leaving behind?
I know when Jordan and I ran, we ran on the platform of real results. We didn't want student government to just become something that people talk about only during elections, and I think we were able to achieve that. We were able to get the entire community talking. We delivered on our platform points. We'll be publishing our end of the year report to showcase exactly all the platform points we were able to hit, and I think that's what I'm most proud of. We kept to our promises, and we were able to bring the entire community together to talk about these issues, no matter what their opinion was about the specific issues themselves. So I'm really proud of us, and it took the entire team to make it happen.
That's all the time we have for today. Rini, thank you again for speaking with us. Priscilla, back to you.
Thanks, Veronica. Well, the FBI said today it unlocked the iPhone used by the gunman in the San Bernardino shooting, ending the encryption court fight with Apple. Apple has not commented on the news, and there are no details about what methods the FBI used to get into the phone.
A man was shot at the U.S. Capitol after he pulled a gun at the visitor center. One female bystander was injured by shrapnel, but no one else was hurt. The suspect attempted to go through metal detectors at the Capitol Visitor Center when he set off the sensors, prompting the security guards to stop him. He then pulled out a gun and was shot by a Capitol police officer. The building was in lockdown for nearly an hour before returning to normal operations. Most lawmakers were away from the Capitol today, but staffers were told to lock doors and move to assigned shelter areas. A notice sent to Senate staffers said there are no other suspects.
Well, Governor Jerry Brown announced a new agreement today that could raise wages sooner than expected.
Some homeless in South LA are on the hunt for a new place after a fire raged through the burning church.
And we'll take you to a Cuban restaurant for some authentic dishes in this week's Ventures with Veronica.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
A fire fire tore through an old building in South Los Angeles, leaving an unknown number of homeless people in search of a new home. Our reporter Madison Paglia shows us the damage.
Burnt debris, shattered windows, and collapsed walls are all that remain after an old building on 84th and South Hoover Street caught fire early this morning.
When I came outside and the whole building was like flaming.
It was a fire. So when it really dawned on me, I woke up and it's pitch black. I smoke everywhere, like black smoke everywhere. And I try to go down the stairs, but I see the fire is already coming up the stairs.
The abandoned building was once an office for the Greater Bethany Community Church, which used to be across the street.
Firefighters arrived at about 5:15 this morning. Right now they're still investigating whether or not it was an act of arson. It is still unclear what exactly the cause of the fire is.
Due to the magnitude of fire, the heavy load of fire, it's standard procedure for us to have the arson investigators come out and determine the cause of the fire.
No one was injured in the fire, but to many homeless community members, losing the building meant losing their home.
It means a lot because we were actually trying to fix it up to make it take all the gang writing and stuff off of it to make it a presentable place, maybe trying to make it into a shelter for people to stay.
For some, it's a home. For others, it's a nuisance.
Right now it's a sore eye and what would need to be torn down and hopefully something be built to better the community here.
Still, it is unclear what is next for those who feel they have lost more than just an abandoned building.
I don't think that they'll get help anywhere else right now. I mean, I hope they do, because they were all homeless. They needed somewhere to stay.
And now these homeless people will have to look for a new place to live. For Annenberg Media, I'm Madison Paglia.
California Governor Jerry Brown announced today an agreement between lawmakers and labor unions that will increase the state minimum wage.
An agreement has been reached among key labor leaders, legislative leaders, and my administration to raise the minimum wage over time to $15 an hour.
If state lawmakers approve the plan, it will be phased in differently depending on location. In San Francisco, where the minimum wage is currently $12.25, workers will begin earning $15 an hour in 2018. Here in Los Angeles, hourly wages will rise from $10 an hour to $12 an hour per hour by 2017 and will reach $15 in 2020. As for the rest of the state, the minimum wage will increase to $10.50 in 2017 and $11 in 2018. It will then increase by $1 every year until it reaches $15 an hour in 2022. You know, it was raining this morning and it was sunny right after. I am really confused by this weather.
The weather has been so unpredictable. Let's toss it over to our weather anchor, Veronica Casada. Veronica?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel and Priscilla. Yeah, we had a sunny and warm Easter yesterday, but we kicked off the week with light showers and low temperatures this morning. But right now the temperatures are getting a little higher, 73% humidity, which is high because of that rain. Now taking a look at tomorrow's forecast, we have 53 in Big Bear, which is pretty cold, 75 in Riverside, and 74 up in San Bernardino. Moving up, we have 70 in Simi Valley, a little bit cooler down in the coast by Malibu. Now coming back down to USC. We have 68 tomorrow on campus, 69 in Anaheim, and 68 down in Long Beach. Now taking a look ahead at the 5-day forecast, we're going to have low 50s at nighttime. During the day, we're going to have 65 on Tuesday, 64 Wednesday. We're going to start the weekend on Saturday with 73 degrees. Now for this week's Venture with Veronica, we look at a Cuban restaurant in Los Angeles. I was inspired by Obama's historic visit to Cuba last week to eat at the Cuban restaurant El Colmao.
I would say it's Cuban Spanish food. They're mixed with one another here. I don't know when one starts and the other ends.
Chef Simplicio Serna has been cooking at El Colmao for 34 years. His father was also a chef when the restaurant first opened.
The original owner was a chef. He was Spanish, but was raised in Cuba. He learned to cook very young, and he started his own restaurant in Cuba. Once there was a change in government, he came to the U.S.
One of the restaurant's original recipes is pierna de puerco, pork leg basted with garlic, salt, grilled onions, and spices.
That's why we sometimes come here to eat the food from our tradition from Cuba.
Rodriguez lives in Vegas, but visits LA often to get a taste of home. El Colmao is located on Pico Boulevard in the Pico Union area.
That looks so delicious. Thank you so much, Veronica.
No problem.
Well, as weather begins to fade, so does the El Niño weather pattern that was expected to bring monstrous storms to California. But has El Niño helped ease the water crisis in Southern California? Annenberg Media's Tommy Brooksbank shows us El Niño did not amount to much. Well, we're having some technical difficulties with that, but I hear March Madness is hitting its climax. Daniel, who are you rooting for in the last four?
Well, I was rooting for USC, but obviously they're out of the tournament. Randall, why don't you tell me more about the Final Four?
Don't worry, man. My team's out too. Okay, guys, buckle up because I have a fast-paced show for you today and a little March Madness. Coming up, history was made on the track at the Cardinal and Gold Challenge. And we will talk to the ladies with the best record on campus. Don't go anywhere. ATVN Sports is next.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
College basketball's March Madness has certainly lived up to the name this year by busting brackets since week one. It's been complete chaos, but now that the dust has settled, we have our Final Four. The Final Four will see some very familiar faces like North Carolina and Syracuse. Meanwhile, Oklahoma's stellar senior Buddy Hield, also known as the new Kobe, brought the Sooners to their first Final Four appearance since 2009. Villanova shocked the world by dominating #1 Kansas to punch their ticket to the big dance.
Regardless of today, they would have been looked at as a very, very good team in Oklahoma basketball history, but now they've got a special spot.
It was a real sense of accomplishment, and I think they really felt good about themselves individually. And that's the greatest thing you can experience as a coach.
Villanova and Oklahoma will face off first, and the winner will take on either Syracuse or North Carolina in the championship. Saturday, the madness continues at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Lady Trojan track team put on a show at the Cardinal and Gold Challenge this past weekend. Senior Jay Stepter led her team by running right into the USC record books. Stepter won the 400-meter dash with a time of 50.91, breaking a record set by Carol Rodriguez in 2008. To add icing on the cake, the women of Troy took home the team victory, beating out Florida, Ohio State, and Texas, three of the top track programs in the country.
I wasn't expecting that today as my opener, and you know, the 400 is not even like my main event, and so it was just so awesome and just proof to all of the hard work that we do in practice and the workouts that we have.
In only the second outdoor meet of the season, we are already seeing a new face in the record books. The Lady Trojans will try to keep up the pace this Saturday as they travel to San Diego for the California Invitational. Speaking of ladies and records, the USC women's lacrosse team is absolutely dominating their opponents and now boasts a 9-0 record. After taking down Oregon 17-4 yesterday, the women of Troy are showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, 7 of their 9 wins have been by double digits. The closest margin of victory was a 4-goal win over Stony Brook 2 weeks ago. Are they just that good?
The chemistry is really great right now in attack. They're moving the ball really well, and all 7 attackers are threats. So people are playing really unselfish. We're moving the ball and waiting for really good opportunities.
Next, the women of Troy will take their undefeated record on the road to Fresno State this Thursday. After that, they come home to face San Diego State this Saturday at McAllister Field. The Los Angeles Clippers are gearing up for a playoff run, and although Blake Griffin won't be back tonight against the Celtics, DeAndre Jordan seems to be getting along just fine. Check out this play from Jordan yesterday as he makes a huge block, but he's not done there. He hustles down the court to make a monster alley-oop dunk. If that's any sign of what's going to happen tonight at 7:30, Clippers fans have a lot to be excited about. Staples Center is certainly not starving for excitement, as the LA Kings just came off a huge win over the Edmonton Oilers. The Kings electrified the home crowd with a 6-4 win after suffering a 3-game losing streak on the road. During that losing streak, they never put up more than 2 goals. It's safe to say that a little home cooking was just what the doctor ordered before the Kings get back on the road tonight against the San Jose Sharks. For this edition of My Rising Stars, we will go back to the track to show some love to 2 of our most high-flying athletes, Randall Cunningham and Adoree Jackson. These 2 jumpers are only sophomores, but they dominated Saturday's meet. Cunningham won the high jump in the Cardinal and Gold Challenge, while Jackson placed second in the 100-meter dash and won the long jump.
My dad and everybody's happy, and it's just exciting to see everybody smiling and happy. And I'm excited what I'm doing right now because it's early and I know I can do more.
I think just trusting in your approach and knowing that everything's going to go well, that you don't have to do anything different.
Like our Rising Stars of the Week, the outdoor track season is still pretty young. I wouldn't be surprised if these 2 young guys make it back on the show before the season is over. So, I mean, wow, we got some high-flying athletes, doing some big things.
Is not just good at football, but man, can he jump out like that long? That's crazy.
Yeah, this guy is amazing. He's amazing us every week. It's crazy.
And you guys are going to the Clippers game tonight. What are
That's
you most
right.
excited for?
Yeah,
we are going to the
we'll
Clippers
be there.
game.
Hopefully, we'll see some of those plays like that.
Yeah, I know. I as much as I can't cheer in this.
We can't cheer, but we'll just be like,
we'll just be like,
give him a little fist bump.
Yes.
Keeping it all inside.
Thank you so much, Randall.
No problem.
Well, the Obamas hosted their last Easter egg roll today at the White House, calling it bittersweet. We'll have more coming up.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's up? What's happening today?
Let's go, Pearly Whites, man.
Yeah. The boys, check it out. Stand up, do my chairs, go compare us.
Ooh, cute. Are you good to try?
I'm fine. Hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
With the White Bunny and stormtroopers, President Obama and the First Lady Michelle invited thousands of children to the White House for the last Easter egg roll of his presidency. The president rolled eggs and played basketball and tennis with the kids. Michelle Obama led the first egg roll fun run in addition to highlight her Let's Move campaign. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Daniel Tran.
And I'm Priscilla Cass, where you can